All right, so we're going to get started. Thanks everybody for joining. We have a really good presentation for you today. What is Grid? Grid is a global real estate community built for investors by investors. We are not gurus. We are a group of real people doing real deals. So that's the goal, is to share and to do business together and grow wealth. There was a stat that I read by the U.S. Treasury that they said someone that owns real estate, is 40 times wealthier than a renter. The multiple is 40 times. So building real estate, the wealth is in the houses. So we are on a wealth building journey. The goal is to achieve the income flip by building and buying assets. So do you guys know what an income flip is?
Any luck, Steve?
Say that again, Rich. Anybody know what an income flip is? Can you hear me? Are you guys alive?
Yeah. Are you saying?
All right, Corey, go ahead.
Are you saying income flip as far as changing from being the landlord from the tenant to the landlord?
That is an income flip. That is true, where you're paying your mortgage, not someone else's mortgage. And this is one level up. That might be the 101, where you're paying your own equity. But the next step up is actually getting more money from your business than from your job. Your job is what you do from 9 to 5, and you have to go, you have to show up. And if you don't show up, you don't get paid, whether it's, you're a waiter, a janitor, you're the CEO, that's your job. But your business is what pays you. So your business is your rental properties that are going to pay you, where you do an income flip, where you're making more money from flipping properties, or more so buy hold, where you're getting more money from the rent than from your W-2 job. So I know that some people on this call, Carlos, myself, Peter, have rental properties that is able to pay for our lifestyle. The mortgage is $3,000. I get $5,000 in rent. I'm pocketing $2,000. I spread that across a few properties. Now I'm making $10,000 for 5 properties. I think there was a statistic: if you buy two properties for $300,000 each for 20 years, you're going to be worth $50 million. So you're doing an income flip by living your life, not by your job, where you quit the 9 to 5 and actually live off of your rental properties. Carlos, when's that going to happen?
When is what going to happen?
When is your rental properties going to pay for your lifestyle, and you don't have to do the 9 to 5?
I actually have that answer. If you keep talking, I will look up some documents from my financial planner, where he gave me a lot of graphs and charts showing me this is your life now, and then every age through, it's like 90 something years old. I can tell you when that will happen. It hasn't happened yet, but that's because I live a big lifestyle. But if I were to downsize my lifestyle, I could do it now off my rentals. But I got too much. I enjoy the lifestyle too much, and I'm too busy still continuing to build my wealth. So I'm not ready to coast like that. But I mean, it's that's just my specific answer. Every person has a different answer depending on what they're willing to do to get their lifestyle and costs under control, and what they're willing to do to maximize rental income. But in my case, like you said, you were referencing the idea that it can be something you do on the side, and you have your main vocation. I have my main vocation, which is selling real estate, and my real estate buy and hold investments on the side are my side hustle. They're not my main thing, but there are some people who will build their life and their portfolio in such a way where their goal is to get the real estate to be all they have to do sooner, the real estate rentals. I'm excited about my career, so that wasn't my goal. But I do think that what is going to happen is it's got like it's got like a I don't know if boomerang is the right analogy, but like this sort of thing where it's going up, 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 and then it takes off, right? Uh, Especially when the mortgages start to fall away, right? But you're talking 15 or 30 years later. So, I've got mortgages I started 15 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago. Um, and going to take a minute before they fall away. But once that payment falls away, it's really tremendous. I've already told this story many, many times that apart from the payment disappearing, which is really huge in terms of increasing profitability, when that mortgage does get fully paid off. Obviously, there's also that along the way, while you're still paying the mortgage, rents can really rise. And I see Tammy. Tammy is a person I've known a long time. Meet Tammy. I know you're working. You may not be able to say hi. But she lives in a neighborhood in Northwest DC where I have a rental property. And, I'm like a broken record always talking about this rental property because it's one of my favorites. But, when I bought it, the gross rent in the 2 units was about 1,700. It was 800 downstairs and 900 upstairs. And today the rents are 33 and 3,600, right? So what's that? The rents went from 1,700 to like, what did I say, 33 and 36, like 6,900, right? So the rents, are radical. But I still have that payment on the mortgage. Now imagine when the mortgage falls away. But even before the mortgage is falling away, that's one where, that's quite a big difference. It's probably cost me about, because I've refinanced it, $3,000 to carry it. So, I'm making a good $3-4 a month profit on that one. Some people could live off of $3 or $4. I can't. I have a much too big lifestyle to do that. But you accumulate a few properties doing that for you, and then the mortgage drops away from the picture, and now it's double that. You get a few of those doing double that, and before you know it, you're making high 6 figures for $200,000-300,000 a year, say, in rental income, most of which is profit.
I'm out. Wow. I mean, that was like 3 different things. I'm hearing growth in not only the value of your house in Bloomingdale, but also the rent.
Yeah.
So just like people pay more in rent over time, right? They're paying you more in rent over time. And it's this exact situation we're in, where inventory is super tight. Interest rates went from 3, we talk about this in all our team meetings, to 7% in such a quick minute in 2022, in such a quick period of time, where a lot of people stop moving. And what happens when there's not a lot of inventory? Does prices go down or prices go up?
For a rent?
For rent.
Go up. When
go up.
Right now, something that's challenging for people buying and selling homes, especially people selling homes, is that the number of sales transactions, like in April, the last month that was completed, was down 33% in the metro area. So a third of the resale market is just evaporated. It's gone. Well, those people who chose not to buy, the missing 33%, some of them owned and decided not to trade up, but a very large number of them decided to rent instead of to buy. And so they added a lot of rental demand, and so rental pricing has continued to go up. That's an artificial bump up into rental demand due to people who sit on the fence. They could buy, they could rent. Right. They're not buying, so they're going to rent. You got to live somewhere. You either couch. If you're housed, if you have a home, you're either couch surfing, and you got an amazing friend who's letting you do that, or parent maybe, or you're renting or you're owning. Right? There aren't that many options.
No, I didn't expect, and that's true. People are forced to rent right now because the price of housing, the barrier of entry was low, and now it's higher. So you really need to have that fortitude to commit to it. I'm excited. Peter, I don't know if you're in a position to talk, but Peter, have you experienced the increase in rental prices
You mean the
on your
yeah,
on,
I'm here,
on
Nick. Yeah. Have I experienced what? Increased rents?
in the last 6 months, 6 to 9 months?
Yeah, but there's two factors. One of is coming out of the pandemic. During the pandemic, the vacancies that I had, the rents were dropping, and you're familiar with that building, right? So the rents were dropping, so I'm still working my way back up. But the other thing that I did was I invested money in the vacant units, renovated kitchens, and that seemed to be the thing that would get a higher rent. And actually, the vacancies were on the market a very short time. People come in, and again, these are efficiencies in studios, or call it what you will, but it's a studio, and they see that new kitchen, and basically they want it, and that's that. And I was able to get the rents I was asking for, which have increased. But then I've, making the investments in the property. So
And I like that. And you have to do that at a certain point. I know what, with my rentals, I have, and Ever is here, Ever Romero. He was on camera. Oh, he left. Maybe he'll be back. But there's a certain point where you need to make that, because A, it's an investment. So whatever you invest in the property or the multi-unit, like Peter did, he's going to get it back. Same thing with Carlos. And people are demanding it now. I think you're not able to get top tier rent without investing in the property. And I'm curious to hear about paying for your lifestyle. Bill, I think Peter, Carlos, myself, I have a smaller portfolio, but in your life, if you're starting early, I see some younger people here, you're able to accumulate properties. It might not be a 4-unit or a 6-unit or $1 million house, but you have to start somewhere. And you're to buy those properties, and over time, your financial planner will tell you, or your real estate agent will tell you, after you get this property, you're going to be cash flowing more than what your 9 to 5 job is doing. So long tangent to say that there are levels, level 1 wealth, and this is the income flip that Grid has kind of designed and expanded. So level 4 is when you achieve the income flip, where you have the mindset, you start buying properties. Level 2, you start a business, and then you start investing. So a little bit about us real quick. I know we have limited time, but we are a sales team here in DC. It's Carlos and myself. We sell about 150 plus houses, and we help clients. We help everybody from the janitor to the CEO. We help people buy their first house, but we certainly have a passion for investments, and that's what we're here to do. We've helped successfully helped many people in Grid, or connected people in Grid to do deals together. So we're excited here. The market is is here. We're noticing a decrease in sales price in DC specifically because of the shortage of demand. The shortage of inventory with the high interest rates. With that, I'll introduce Carlos and then get into member intros or guest speaker intros. Carlos, you want to go?
Yeah, my name is Carlos Garcia. I'm one of the owners of Keller Williams in the city. Keller Williams is the biggest brand in the country in terms of the number of agents. And in DC, we have a lot of offices in our metro area, throughout Northern Virginia, Maryland, and DC. I'm a part owner of the 3 DC offices. We have about 450 agents in DC. Most of us are licensed in some combination of jurisdictions, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. With Nick, I lead a team of SWAT specialists in Keller Williams. We're about a dozen agents, and we've sold $100 million worth of real estate for each of the last 10 years. So that's over $1 billion of real estate just in the last decade. And, I think of myself as more of an investor, frankly, than a realtor. I am a realtor, but being a realtor comes relatively naturally to me because I'm, inclined to focus on real estate, whether or not you're paying me to do that, because I've been doing that since before I was a realtor. I was an attorney for 12 years, and my law practice was not related to real estate. It was like technology and international trade and corporate law. But I was obsessed with housing in the District of Columbia pretty much the moment I got here. I'm from New York City, where real estate is extremely expensive and where a lot of the adults I knew, even who were doing well, were renting because it was, home ownership seemed unattainable to them. So I, witnessed many dinners and barbecues and get-togethers where all the adults, all the old folks are gathered around, maybe talking to somebody who landed a brownstone in Brooklyn and like, how did you do that? And I can think of this one friend of the family who was a government worker who bought a brownstone in Brooklyn Heights, in the $300,000-$400,000 range, and it's worth like $5 million today, maybe $6 million, and that's just like a radically life-changing thing. And so it's those kinds of possibilities that have always made me interested in real estate. And I'm like the one person who's going to say something that everyone else in this call disagrees with, which is that DC real estate's not that expensive. I know that's right, and I know that's wrong. Like for some people, it feels very expensive. But it's a world-class city. It's the nation's capital of the most, at least for maybe a few more days, powerful nation on earth. And we're right in the backyard of the largest employer on earth. And for those and other related reasons, it's a great market to invest in. And honestly, I think it has a ton of upside left in it. So if you want to try to convince me that real estate is not the way, I say save your breath. Try something else. I'm a true believer. And that's what makes me so excited to be part of this group and to work with Nick to lead it. We're trying to hook up with other true believers or help you understand what it is that we see. We come from all walks of life. Some of us are in this as our vocation. For some of us, it's only our side hustle. We're investors. We're builders. We're architects. We're bankers. We're nurses who flip houses. We're government workers who buy and hold properties. I mean, that's who our group is, and all are welcome. So thanks for that, Nick. I hope that intro wasn't too long, but just wanted to give people a sense of our feeling and the sort of the vibe here in this group. We're pretty open. Other realtors attend. Sometimes there'll be two lenders who just competed for a client. So there's a lot of healthy competition within this grid network, and also a lot of collaboration. That's the idea, is just to sort of be open and allow people to ask questions and to share. Let me know, people, if you want the market update to be on the back end of this meeting or sooner.
So do we want to do market update first, or do we want to jump in? I have a nice guest. I have Ever Romero here with Ever Construction. The plan was to go through an actual live property and estimate.
I think the market conditions at the end, Nicholas, might be better, because that's always fun to ask Carlos a lot of good questions about it. Like, that's like my favorite part of the presentation, is Carlos telling us where the market is, where it's going. When we get to do Q&A, and that usually takes up a lot of time. That's just my opinion.
Let's go with that.
Okay, so we'll do it on the back end. So we have this property, and it's in a good area. So right here, could everybody see my screen? It's live in the MLS. It's NOMA, so north of 8th Street by Gallaudet. Our office is actually not too far. I'm sitting down right here in Stanton Park. and it's typical. You see about $650,000. I hope these pictures load. If not, I have some here. So a $650,000 house, right? It's a brownstone, or not brownstone. It's brick, 2 sides, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Little priced high. It's only 2,000 square feet. The lot size is nice, and lot size is important, especially in the pandemic. People want backyard space. The first thing ever, can you see? You want to just introduce yourself? And he is having problems with his audio, so he's going to be talking through my phone. You want to do a little intro?
Yeah, hey guys, this is Ever Romero. My company name is Ever General Contractors. So basically, we do any remodeling on the house, roofing and interior work. And yeah, so I'm here to see how I can help you guys.
Okay, great. So Ever and I usually meet at the location. We typically do. We look at it online first, so I make sure that it fits the criteria. You want to have a buy box, where you're looking to buy, where you're looking to flip. I know I have people on this call that might be actually interested in this flip. So I send it to them, they send it to me, you send it to Ever. We're sending properties around. That is the language. And we see this is a good one. It's in a great location. And I see it's 650. I called the agent. They said that offers are due Tuesday, but they didn't get anything. They got a donut hole, this many. And I kind of figured that. They have someone living there. I got the story, right? Why are they selling? They want to move. So you got to figure out what the motivation is, why the seller is selling. If it's vacant and it's easy to show, it's going to be more than likely it's going to be higher price. We like units that are lived in, not marketed well, because you get a discount for them. So I called up the agent. The owners have been there since the 70s. They've been there 47 years. So I don't do the math. Yeah, 70s. And they haven't done many updates. So you could see here, it does have central AC. Is that what it is? Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have a AC, but the basement height is something that we look at. This is a picture that my colleague took and saw the property. We always want to see, you want to star this, asterisk it, basement height and roof. Obviously, the roof is important. Oh, what condition is the roof? But what about the basement? Waterproofing it, the basement height. Can we make it livable? So this basement's 7 feet tall. We measured it from, and it's finished. So you could rip up that ceiling and look at the beams. We look at the water shutoff, see where that's located at. We look at the electrical panel. So kind of taking a step back, first things first, you want to figure out the motivation. They want to move to Maryland. Second thing, is it occupied? Yes. That's a plus for me. So we know we might be able to get a deal. It's harder to organize showings with someone living there. Then I look at the ARV. I know in that area, 1.1 to 1.2, something closed last year, 1 block over. So I know I could buy it for 6, sell it for 1.2. And this one that sold didn't even have, this has radiator heats, and it's not a full gut job. And again, it's right down the road, right near Noma. Jad, 600, buy for 600, sell for 1.2 with 250,000 renovation cost. Does that sound like a good deal to you?
Buy for 600, put only 200K into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can sell for 1.2. That's a good deal all day long.
That's a good deal all day long. The only caveat is it's off of Florida Avenue, and that's probably the biggest curveball. And Jad could attest to being off or on a busy street might not even be worth it because he's
South
experienced.
Dakota, yeah. I had a house in South Dakota. It was beautiful finishes, and people just, yeah. I even bought a house in Fauquier County, like even Fauquier County, and they were like, I can hear road noise, and this house was beautiful, and it just sat for 90 days. So yeah, location's really critical.
Yeah, location's critical. So so from top to bottom, Ever, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see.
So we meet at the property, we do our secret handshake, and the first thing we see is ivy growing up the left side. So I would say, how much would it cost typically, Ever? We would assume this front porch is also a costly item. So I guess let me get some volunteers. What do you see here? Mora Home Solutions, what do you see that needs to be worked on here?
Yeah, basically the front porch needs to be do some work. I can say do ground wash on the entire house, and the masonry brick needs to be replaced, and the entire painting. So and I think the roof needs to be replaced as well.
What else? What else do you guys see? Mora Home Solutions? I didn't get your name. I know you might be newer. There
Hey,
we
brother.
go.
Sorry, I was in the middle of reading a text message when you asked me the question. Can you
No
repeat that
worries.
question for me?
Oh, I got two of you guys here. Even better. What do you guys do, by the way?
Yeah. So I'm a home improvement contractor in Maryland.
Oh, perfect. So we got two here, Ever and Mora Home Solutions. So what do you guys see when looking at the property right off the bat? If you were to sell it for 1.2. Oh, do you see my screen? Oh, let me share my screen. Let me share
No,
this. Sorry.
I
There we go.
okay. Yeah, no.
Sorry about that. There we go. Let's see. I think I have a video in here. But what do you see? I see that the doors are going to need replaced and probably all the windows. So I just
I
have
see
a
the
mental note.
doors. Yeah, definitely the doors, the stairwell coming up. See all those bricks that need to be regrouted, and I think a couple bricks need to be changed out. Overall, definitely the door, which also kind of gives me the perspective that maybe the windows are probably dated as well.
Love it. You know what I just thought of? Carlos, you see anything about this as a buy hold investor? If you were to buy it and rent it out for max capacity or sell it for the max price, what would you have to do with the exterior?
Oh, the exterior? I mean,
Yeah, I want to see it to maximize that it. Yeah, I want to see if you could pick this up.
give me a few more photos. Just flash me around a little bit here.
Okay, sure. Let me see.
And obviously
Okay.
the brickwork needs a little work. You probably have to scrape and paint the iron.
Let me see. So here are some pictures.
But you're asking about, well, the woodwork looks great. It looks like a very solid house, actually. Also looks like it's got some AC done to it. So it's been renovated. It just needs to be cleaned up, right? I mean, and made more beautiful or hip. Is that stone?
Carlos, would you take down the wall where the kitchen is?
Oh, I mean, not if I was buying and holding it, but to flip it, I would think so. Just because
I would knock it down to get that ARV up, because I'm super cognizant of the burr and refinancing.
Uh-huh.
So two conflicting views. Nicholas says, take down the wall, give it a wow factor, so that when you go to refinance out of the home, you have no issues with the appraisal. Carlos is saying, go cheap and don't take down the wall, because why should you give a shit? You're just going to buy and hold and rent it out for the next 15 years.
Well,
Wow, two really interesting perspectives.
Part of my
on this.
reasoning, though, if you go back to the kitchen, is that there's some value there already. So when you tear the kitchen apart, you'll be losing the value that exists. Is that stone?
I think that's peel and stick vinyl.
You do? That does make a difference to me. and that may be a factor in my decision. But if that was stone, I'm thinking I could put white backsplash. I could paint the cabinets. I would hit the that vent cover with like Kills and then make it bright, make it look new. Literally change out the floors. That looks like vinyl. I put a vinyl that looks like ceramic. I'm just renting it to young professionals, and it's the location that's mostly going to drive it. I'll get some decent photos. I won't get the photos and the sex appeal of a open, kitchen. Like I would rather have that. Don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to save my money. I want to make the basement inhabitable with 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom if the ceiling fits to get head count up. Looks like I've got by that bulkhead HVAC already. This is a modernized house that's just got miles on the modernization. So maybe I've got a
Carlos, but how are you? I mean, but they won't even be legal bedrooms in the basement. I don't see any windows.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. So to my point, time out. To my original question with the exterior, right off the bat, I want to add a basement entrance.
Yeah, I could see doing that where the grass is. So you go up those first concrete steps before you hit the brick steps. Then you bang a right and you go doop, 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 doop. You might have to turn depending on where the utilities are, but I've done that before. Or possibly it could just be a straight shot from the sidewalk.
You guys are a bunch of slumlords. See everyone on this call? They're going to rent out a basement with no windows and no closets. And they're basically, you guys are renting out a dungeon.
Easy there. We'll add some. I mean, we don't mind the Lord's part. It's the slum part that we're struggling with. So we might add some windows. We might open up some windows, but it's true. It's going to be a basement. It won't be gorgeous, but hopefully 2 bedrooms, maybe only 1, depending on windows, in fact, and egress and where the mechanical room is. You can't vent into a bedroom. You can only vent into the common area in from the mechanical area. So, but I just see a lot of potential. It looks relatively square. It's got great woodwork. It's been modernized. It's just not hip. So I'm just going to try to slightly hipify it and then, focus on bedroom and bathroom count.
I would say one of the differences too between like Nick saying take the wall down and Carlos saying not take the wall down is whether or not they have the intentions of refinancing it after the renovation is complete. And I would say knowing Carlos, he's going to buy it, renovate it, and rent it. He probably is going to skip the refinance part, at least initially, because he's already in a good financial position. He's not necessarily trying to pull every single dollar back out of this property for the next one.
But now I'll play devil's. Hi, Paula, and that was astute. I think you're on point. Nice to hear your voice. So, and we got to set up that lunch. But to play devil's advocate, go the other way. Given the rates are a little high right now, and I will be looking to refinance anyhow, that might add to the idea that I'm going to do. That I'm going to pull cash out.
That is a great counter argument to not over renovating, because you're not going to be able to refinance and get the hell of the rate.
Well, not immediately, but I was actually saying the opposite for a minute of my initial strategy. Maybe do the better renovation so you do drive the value up, since you are going to refi anyhow, is my thinking. So, I mean, look, both strategies could be reasonable. And a lot of it will have to do with where we think we can get rents to go. And remind me of that location again. Can you just hit the map one more time?
Sure. So
Location really drives the rent.
It's right by your favorite property. Your most favorite.
No, I've got something at the 6th block of L. So I'm right around the corner with a good rental already.
And I'm joking with Carlos because I think he's always.
Let me just be clear.
I wish my property manager would raise the rent on my L Street property.
True. I always complain about you have your favorite children and your least favorite children. My L Street property doesn't give me the rent that I want. But that's a great location. So you certainly can't go wrong, spending more on your rental renovation.
Right. And
you're right near Union Market and walkable to New York Avenue Metro to the east. West.
Mm-hmm. So the roof. So how does this porch look, Ever?
I mean the porch I think is a modified flat roof.
Can you guys hear Ever?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you guys.
Okay. Yeah, like I say, the front porch roof, it looked like a modified flat roof. So I think that needs to be replaced. But the roof, it's a slate. That it look like okay, maybe couple pieces need to be replaced. But other way, it look fine.
So you're saying the which porch needs the porch roof needs to be
The
replaced?
Yeah, the flat roof, the front porch.
Oh yeah. So how much would that add to our budget if it was? So that would be a significant cost, right? To repair the and Jad knows as well because he's done a few of these to do the front
Right.
porch roof. You're talking about take it to this like take it off completely or just reframe it or
Yeah, I mean to make it a good slope, it's better to remove the whole thing.
and do you think that would
And
be like 30,000 or
between 30 and 3,500.
okay, so we put that as a big cost, 3,500. And
How about the electrical panel? Was it 100 amp, 150, or 200 amp?
it's 100 amp.
Yuck. How
Oh
much is it
no.
going to cost to replace the electrical panel? Ask your contractor.
Okay, so we go through the house. Good question. This is a pro, by the way. Jad's a pro. And actually, I wanted to introduce you because Ever's in DC. So he's asking for the electrical panel. How much is it to do a heavy up, or excuse me, a rewire? Because it's only 100 amps. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry, can you repeat that? My Bluetooth headphones came in.
Yeah, I'm saying to doing a heavy up, it's around 5,000.
5,000? Carlos, you'd have a heart attack if someone told you 5,000 for a heavy up.
And then how about for a rewire?
The entire house.
Yep.
For everything, we're talking about another 5,000. So we're talking about 10,000 for everything.
That's a good
That,
deal.
that includes all the recessed lighting, Nicholas?
No, not recessed
No,
lighting.
That's separate.
But did you guys say that it's 150?
We got to convert to 200.
100. It's 100 amps.
200, all right.
It's 100.
Well, it's interesting. They've got central air, so 100 was enough to do that.
Well, let me show you because we have Pat was not kind enough to go through here. So this is what you're looking at. You maybe
I
have,
almost had a contractor burn down my house in Middleburg, Virginia. I had this guy who was an HVAC contractor and had 100 amp on this house. And the guy, I told the guy, just, fix the HVAC, make sure it's good to go. So he realized that the electrical panel wasn't enough to secure the HVAC that he was putting on the house. So this guy did some ghetto stuff where he tied the wires to the 100 amp and the house almost burned down. He ended up knocking out the electricity for the whole home. Right? Because he didn't want to tell me that the new HVAC required an updated electrical panel. So I think that's the first thing you should look for the rehabbers on here. Another thing is if you're just gonna be replacing and you're not gonna be pulling permits, and then you wait to the end to do the electrical panel, the person from PG, DC, they're gonna walk the home. And if they walk the home and see that you haven't pulled permits because you thought that you didn't need to pull permits because you're replacing and you didn't have to pull it, you're going to get a stop work order on the house and your house is going to sit for the next 6 months. So the first thing I would do for anyone on this call is look at your electrical panels. Anything that needs to be done, do it first before you start any work on the home. Don't wait till after you've demoed the house, in my opinion.
so you're starting. So there's some things you need to do up front, like electric work to get started.
You want to replace the electrical panel first thing. Okay, for instance, let's say you're replacing something you don't feel those permits are necessary. When you do the heavy up, someone needs to come and inspect the electrical panel. when they do a walkthrough on your house, like a water meter stolen or whatever, and they're like, Nicholas, you and Carlos didn't pull permits for whatever it is. Why didn't you do that? Remember, he's just there for the electrical panel to sign off on it. But now he had to walk through the entire house and he's not happy with what you've done, right? Then a big red paper goes on the front of your house and now you have a stop work order when all you needed was just the guy to sign off on the electrical panel for the heavy up.
Mm-hmm. So that's a big no-no. And yeah, I mean a huge.
Because you have to pull.
I don't know how they got away with 100 amps. So how much for lighting ever? You think for the whole house? It's about 2,000 square feet.
Okay, for the whole house, we're talking about between 2,000 and 500, let's say.
So 2,500. So
yeah,
relatively smaller cost. Jad and the other flippers on this, the basement is usually what we go to first because we want to see the basement height, and in DC, that's where you get the most square footage. So let me play this quick video here, and you could see.
See, I would disagree. The basement wouldn't, because see, the basement, there's no that square footage does not add to your appraisal, right? So like no matter what happens with the basement, the appraiser is going to take the above ground square footage. So no matter how much you pimp out the basement, I mean, it will help when you go to sell it, but I'm just trying to say it doesn't help in regards to the comps when it comes to the appraisal. I could be wrong if someone else wants to correct me.
Two things. One is the cost of excavating is significant. And then the sellability, you could put bedrooms there if you carve out windows. So you could put 2 legal bedrooms in there at 7 foot, and it would be hard to put 2 bedrooms. You probably only could put 1 bedroom there in this particular one, but it does add a bedroom, which adds 35 grand or what have you to the appraisal. And a separate kitchen, and you know that. You could definitely add some value because they don't.
No, you're right. You're right, Nicholas. I apologize. Yes, you're right. I was just saying that when it goes to, but just in regards to above ground square footage, when you go to sell the home, if you're flipping it, the appraisal obviously can't take into effect the basement. But if you're adding the bedrooms, then yes, it would affect the appraisal because now you have more bedrooms.
Yeah, and that's more than likely what we would do here. 2 bedrooms if wide enough, or if you have like a little dog leg. So looking through this, 7 feet, is 7 feet enough? And I would say yes. And there's the electrical panel. How much ever, correct me if I'm wrong, dropping the slab might be like, depending on, so what is dropping the slab and what is excavating? What's the difference between the two?
So how high is right now? 7 feet?
7 feet, yeah.
I mean, that's okay. The minimum is 6'8". But to do the excavate, we're talking about around 10 or 12,000.
What the excavating or dropping the slab? And what and the difference?
Excavating.
10 to 12 grand. That seems way too cheap. So,
yeah, I mean.
Oh, excavate. So underpinning. Sorry, underpinning versus dropping the slab. So excavating. There's two differences. Excavating, if you want to turn a 7 feet basement into an 8-9 feet basement, that's excavating. You need to actually dig under the brick because the footing. Right? Is that what it's called, ever? The footing on each side. The brick goes down maybe a foot more. So it's 7 feet. Maybe it goes down the dirt a foot if you're lucky. But you would need to add additional footing. So you excavate. You dig a little bit, or underpin. You dig a little bit, and then you have to put these poles in there, and then stick bricks in them. I don't know if Carlos could explain it better, but it's very costly. It's probably 60,000 to 120,000, depending on how deep you dig. Now, what Ever's saying is dropping the slab or excavating if you wanted to get a little bit more height and level it off. He's saying $10,000 to $15,000. Is that right, Ever?
Yeah, I can say maybe 1 feet down.
1 feet down would be.
Yeah, because we need to the pipe.
Yeah.
We don't know how deep it is, so you can't go more the where the pipe is right now.
You're talking about the sewage pipe or the water underneath?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what he's saying is a lot of the times when you excavate, you run into, and I don't know, I'm sure Jad has excavated before, or has done underpinning, but you run into the sewage line, and sometimes it's even cracked that you have to replace that, and it can be very costly. So digging, wouldn't recommend it, and it saves a lot of money. So we're going to keep it as is. How much would it cost to put vinyl floors, frame out a bedroom? So what we're looking here is framing it out. It's already got an HVAC room. Without doing a front entrance, how much would it be to frame a bedroom, do the floors, pour concrete cement, finish the roof, put recessed lighting? What you did with my house is do some concrete work so there's water resistance, waterproofing the basement. That's important. And then the second step will be to add the windows and excavate the front entrance. So I guess how would you break that down, Ever? What would you look at for kind of determining the cost of finishing the basement?
I can say 45.
So 45,000.
Yeah.
Does that include doing the front excavation?
Yeah, to make a door.
Yeah, to do a door.
Yeah.
Doing cement.
We need to submit a permit to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to have a door and egress window.
So I'm showing multiple angles here. So 7 feet high, you have the mechanical room. And that doesn't include new equipment. And that doesn't include doing a bathroom. I would definitely renovate this bathroom. Would that be another 15,000?
Yeah, 16,000 to 17,000.
Okay, so we got 45 plus 15, so that's 60,000. The major item from the front is the porch. That's 35,000. We're already up to 95,000. We haven't even gone upstairs. And just ballpark figure, does anybody? I feel like I'm talking, but I want to make sure that we're what other questions or what other things that I should keep in mind while going through this with Ever?
What about the HVAC itself?
HVAC. Okay. What else? So this HVAC looks like it has ductwork. I think they installed it in 2006. I mean, if you're doing this at a rental, I would definitely keep it. But let's say Ever you keep the ductwork, you just need a new heating and cooling system. Is that 15 grand?
No, maybe 10,000. 10.
So 10,000 for HVAC.
Yeah. That's the HVAC and the condenser unit.
Then we're going to go. So the second thing I like to look at is adding bedrooms. So we already added one up downstairs. Let me pull up the listing photos here. So luckily they did a good job in reporting this. It looks like, so I like to go upstairs. I look at the hardwood floors. These are beautiful pine floors. I think Carlos commented about keeping them. Or not keeping them, that they had the original floors. You could see them here. I live in a home. I think Russ is on this call. I know he's lived in some houses with pine. I would opt for LTV or luxury vinyl tile.
LVP.
Now, again, what do we? This is to flip or to buy and hold?
Yes, good question, Carlos.
Buy hold. Well, that's a good question. For this one, we're looking at renovation costs, and we could do both, but I'm a buy hold investor, so let's say for a buy hold.
Well, I don't think you need to change the floors. You might need to refinish them.
Hmm.
Nicholas, how many bathrooms and bedrooms did you say there were?
3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
Oh, it's a big house, yeah. So what price did he give you for the kitchen and the bathrooms to remodel so far?
So we haven't done kitchens and bathrooms yet. Let's pull it up. So we were talking about, did we say yay or nay for making it more open? Let me pull up the slide here. There we go. All right. So will we be knocking down this wall or keeping it up for buy hold?
For a rental, I would keep the wall, and I would renovate I would refinish the floors if it were a rental.
Okay. So so we do new cabinets, new appliance package. Appliance package what? Cost 5,000? Or would you keep these? I'm just talking from my own gut, but it sounds like you might even keep these appliances.
New appliance, scratch and dent sale.
What would you do?
What kind of tenants are you trying to attract?
I mean, these are top tier tenant. Well, I would get. I mean, this is a young professional. I would try to get the upper echelon, so definitely stainless steel appliances.
So you're not going for voucher tenants?
Even for voucher tenants, they're picky. The voucher tenant for a 5-bedroom is 5,500, and market tenants are about that. So I might have to rent to a market tenant or a voucher tenant.
Carlos is the expert on this.
I mean, what I know is the young professionals. They definitely want the nice finishes. I don't have any voucher clients, but I'm open to it. The guru I know who does voucher clients goes high end all the way, and is very good at finding tenants who will take care of your property really well. So if I was going to look the voucher out, I might talk to him a bit, consult with him a bit, but certainly the young professionals. I like Paula's scratch and dent idea. Scratch and dent is just appliances that are a little dinged. The refrigerator in my house, in my supposedly fancy kitchen, is a scratch and dent. It was dented on the side. Who cares? It's slotted into a hole. Never get to look at the side of that fridge. And I think we paid maybe 60-70% of the normal price.
All right, scratch and dent model. We're doing new cabinets, scratch and dent. We're finishing the floors ever. We're doing tile. So I'm pulling the trigger. I'm doing the tile, but we're finishing the floors. We're keeping the wall up, but it looks like there needs a lot of it's the original walls, plaster. So how much would it be to renovate the kitchen?
The kitchen, if we replace the cabinet and the countertop, we're talking about, I can say 15.
Okay, 15,000 for the kitchen. How much for refinishing the floors? 2 levels.
4,800.
Now, the one problem we always have is this addition. What do we do with this addition back here? I don't know if you could see it. So what about painting the whole house 3 levels. Well, I guess you already quoted, so 2 levels, including trim, getting new crown molding. I like floor trim, so I get new floor trim. But let's just start with painting. How much would it be to paint the whole house?
65.
Okay, definitely need a new fresh coat of paint. I would keep these French doors that they have here, maybe finish them off. Looks like it finishes. You see this picture right here on the right. Oh, you guys, I'm not even sharing here. There we go. I would finish these floors here. So you guys kind of get the gist. So we got 650. Let's put this into a spreadsheet. Have you guys ever worked with Deal Check? So I'm going to do the Burr, Carlos. I'm going to refinance this bad boy. We're at 1218 5th Street. Have you guys ever used Deal Check? And the good thing about Deal Check is that it pulls public data. And sometimes it's not right. This is not a condo. And what you could do basically is find out if it makes sense, if all this renovation that you're doing makes sense. So edit property. How much would you pay for this property? Well, I would say 600,000. ARV, we looked at a property. It could probably go for 1.2, but because of the busy street, I'm going to give it a discount of $100,000. I'm going to say 1.1 million, and we could put in comps there to support it. How much do you usually put down, Carlos, on your rental properties?
20%.
Okay, so investor loan, that means you don't have to live in it, 20%. Interest rate now are 6.5% to 7% for investment properties. I'm going to put 7. Now, there is another loan that you have to get. You could either finance it with cash, 30-year loan. How are you going to finance the renovation, Carlos? And let's say this is a typical client, buy a whole client. Do they usually finance it with cash?
Yes.
I mean, so they usually do the renovation. So it's just a single loan, making it easier to refinance, not doing a Burr.
What was our total renovation budget?
That's what we're going to figure out. My gut is telling me it's going to be 175 to 200,000.
200,000?
200.
Jeez. I'm going to be a GC. I'm going to do Ever's job.
You think that's too much?
I don't know. Well, let's see what the end result is. Let's see what our rental income is going to be.
Jad, you are a professional at procuring construction services, and you have guys who you keep in business, right? So the rest of us are not able to obtain those services the way you can.
No. I mean, I just, like I said, let's just see what the rental income is, because
you
maybe
buy wholesale.
4,000 is more than
retail. I wish I could buy wholesale, but I don't have a big house flipping business to keep a construction crew or 2 or 3 going. So I have to pay normal rates.
No, his rates aren't bad, though. I mean,
Ever can make a living.
No, Ever's rates are not bad.
Ever will give you an even better price if you give him a piece of the action on your deals. I know he will.
No, I'm just saying, because 200,000 to buy and hold is just a lot. But
yeah,
but let's just see what the rental income is. I'm excited to see what that number looks
that's
like.
why you heard me before, trying to keep the kitchen, work with the floors, stuff like that.
I think the expectation for finishes in DC is different outside of DC, and that's why the budget needs to be a lot higher. Once you get out of DC, you can do some lower end finishes, but in DC, it's just going to sit. I know sometimes I look at properties when I'm in Maryland or Virginia, and I'm like, man, this would never fly somewhere like in DC, but it works once you're out of DC proper.
No, I think you're right. It depends on your market, right? And you're getting luxury prices. You're buy big asset. And to Peter's point, after a certain period of time, to renovate the units when it was vacant, because that's what renters were demanding. They're paying $2,200 or $2,500 for a studio off of H Street in the Anthropology building. You're charging $500 less, but you can't get away with Formica tables and window units. You need to get central AC to extract that value. I mean, they might even not even rent it out for $1,500. They might rent it out. You have almost a fire sale to get a tenant in a studio with window units in DC at this time post-pandemic, because people are living in their houses more and using it more and more. So your deferred maintenance and your headache costs are just through the roof. Did I miss anything here, guys? I have roof, 10 grand.
Water heater, windows,
Okay, I have windows at 6 grand.
water heater.
1,500.
1,500. All right. Did we dig down? I didn't put the basement in here.
Most of the electrical work he said was going to be 10,000. The heavy up he said was 5,000, and then the wiring was another 5,000. But how much are you putting in recessed lights, or are you just keeping the lights the way they are?
I'll probably do a little bit of both. I personally am a fan of the chandeliers and the light fixtures. So maybe doing half, recessed lighting in some rooms, maybe in the basement. Yeah,
How about
definitely.
doors? Are you keeping all the same doors? Are you doing 2-panel or 4 or 6-panel doors?
That's true. We would probably try to keep most of the doors. Definitely the front door would need to be replaced, the back door, and you would need a new door. For the room doors, it depends on the condition. Let's see. Let's go back. Let's say we
And are you keeping all the same toilets, or are you replacing the toilets?
so bathroom budget, definitely new toilets, new vanities, new tile, maybe reglazing where you can, adding a bathroom. So that's a good question.
Are you doing tiling, or just doing that cheap plastic prefab shit?
No, definitely not. No, that's not going to fly in DC. Definitely tile, porcelain, or what other tile do we use ever?
Vinyl, the LVP,
Oh, vinyl.
the waterproofing vinyl.
Oh, waterproof and vinyl.
Yeah.
No, I think we're talking about tiling. He thinks you're talking about flooring.
Oh, tile.
Yeah, we can do tile.
What type of tile? Porcelain and what else? What other materials?
Porcelain. Yeah, any type of ceramic floor.
Oh, ceramic. There you go. Ceramic tile. So if we added a bathroom ever, because there's only 2 bathrooms, actually 1.5. If we want to add a half.
Right now?
So there's one in the upstairs and a half bath downstairs. How much would it be to add a master or main, I should say, bathroom? New plumbing, new everything. It doesn't attach to the what is it called? The stack. 15,000.
Is that with the permits included?
Is that with the permits?
Yeah.
And then we do another half bath. We renovate the current bathroom, new tile. We keep the tub. We reglaze the tub. Let me know if you have any questions, guys, about any of these things. New vanity, new mirror, new fixtures. How much would refinishing the upstairs bathroom cost?
I say 8,500.
8,500. How about adding a half bath in the same spot?
Yeah, between 1,500 and I'm sorry, 15,000 and 17, around that.
Okay, for the half bathroom?
Oh, that's a half bathroom?
Yeah.
No, let's say 10,000 for that.
10,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we add a bathroom, finish the existing one, add a half bathroom, we're at 15, 8, and 10. That's 25. 33,500. So I was right. I have electric, 12,000, plumbing, 5,000, say for any errors that might happen. 3,500 for appliance package. Painting, exterior paint. How much does it cost to do exterior paint for the front?
Included the brick or just the trim, the white trim?
Oh, that's a good point. Let's say just the white trim.
The white trim? 3,500.
How much would it cost? A lot of the times, I don't know, Paula and Carlos, if you would invest in this, but in the back to insulate the addition, almost like we did with our clients on Evarts Street. So sometimes you, in the DC row homes, the back is usually the porch and it's exposed. So you need to re-insulate it and put up siding.
Are you going to put electrical charging station area or like an outdoor outlet so they can charge their cars in the backyard?
Definitely not. Definitely not. But
and what's your landscaping budget?
But you know, the thing is, maybe you would put electric hookup there, just not the charging station.
Right. Electric hookup in the backyard.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. It's becoming more popular. So let's say, how much would it be to re-insulate the addition?
How is the walls right now? Is open or?
They're wood. Usually the back addition is closed off. They might have some sheetrock and some plywood, some framing, but no insulation in between the framing and the exterior.
The outside walls? Is siding, vinyl siding, or?
Oh, so in the back right now, let's see. That's a nice yard. I don't know, what would you guys call that?
That's vinyl siding.
Yeah, deteriorated vinyl siding. So ripping that out and putting new vinyl, insulating it on both ends. And look at that compressor. But there is an egress there. That's good. So what would that be? Another?
I can say if we put a new insulate, new plywood, new vinyl siding, 6,000.
All right, we're up to 166,000. Anything we should add, remove? All right, we're going to do a 10% overrun. So we're projecting that our costs are going to go over 10% of the total. And we are going to hold, it's going to take us how long? 6 months or 3 months ever? With permits too.
Let's say 3 months.
Oh, that's good. So he's got an aggressive person there.
They are very slow right now.
Yeah, so 3 months. Let's holding period, loan label. So we are going to try to refinance 75% of the ARV. So basically, depending on your experience in the loan, what type of loan, you could refinance with the tenants in there and get 75% of your equity. The rate is going to definitely be around 7. Well, hopefully it's going to be around 5%. So we'll say 6%. Loan term, 30 years. If you get a commercial loan, it's going to be different. Refinance costs, around 1%. The rent. So the rent in this area, if we have 5 bedrooms, we're doing really nice finishes. I feel comfortable saying this could rent out for $6,000. Vacancy rate for young adult group house model or for your market rate tenants, usually 1 out of every 5 years, and it takes 3 months. So let's say 10% vacancy rate. Property taxes, insurance, property management, nope. Nope. All right, and then you do buy hold projections. You press this button. We have the purchase price at 600, ARV of 1.1. Oops. All right. You guys ready? Carlos, you want to walk us through this? Or Paula? Paula, you want to walk us through this?
Say it again.
Walk us through, sorry. I didn't even realize I didn't change. All right, so walk us through this sheet.
So if we purchased it for 600,000 and financed 480,000 with a 20% down payment, that's $120,000 down payment. Plus the purchase cost is the closing costs, right? That you're including.
Yeah, purchase cost 3%. Yeah, closing cost.
Closing costs plus rehab costs of 183,150. Total cash needed to close and do the renovations to be all in 321,150. That's the loan information. You're estimating, I think you said $6,000 for rent.
Mhm.
Refinance, you have the after repair value. So holding costs would be $8,400 a month, for a total of $10,000. I think you said 6 months, right? 3 months. You're doing 3 months.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to do 6 months, it would be 20 grand.
Yeah. Then your ARV, you were estimating about $1 million, right? But you would do a refinance for 825.
So basically, loan amount.
Yeah, your loan amount would be
825.
all right. Perfect. Your refinance cost, closing costs would be 11,000. And your so you'd be able to refinance and get cash out of $323,636. So basically you're going to put in 321,000 of your own money. You're going to get 323,000 back, which means you got all your cash back plus $2,486 to put into your next project. So you used your money, you got the house ready, rented, and now you get your cash back to go do it again.
I mean, need you say more?
All I need is $321,000. Then I can do this all day long.
Well, that's the thing is, how do you deploy your assets and how risk averse are you, or how leveraged do you want to be? Right, because that's a lot of cash, but you do get it back after 6 months or 3 months. There's risks involved, obviously. But I think the coolest thing was that when Paula was describing it is that you paid off your old loan of 480 and you got your cash of 300. You got your cash back out. I mean, need I say any more? Now, the cash flow, now, Carlos, do you mind that you're losing $600 a month on this? If we rent it out for 6,000 and we got some expenses, so our net operating income is 4,745. Loan payments is 496. So all in all, 6,000. I don't know how I'm reading this, but your cash flow is negative $200. So a lot of the times, since we're
What's my bedroom count? 5. Okay. I mean, I would have been pushing to see if I could have gotten it up to 6 to get the income a little higher. No, I don't like losing 600 a month, but it ain't the end of the world. The thing I don't love about the deal is how cash intensive it is. So I know I just probably stopped some people on I don't mind losing 600 a month. Because I'm going to refi it down the road, and I'm even at losing 600 a month, I'm making payments to principal. If I like the upside on rents at that location, and especially if I can do something else with it down the road, if the lot's large enough, future condo project, or a future expansion of the house, maybe losing 600 a month is okay. For me, it's just how cash intensive the whole thing is to be losing 600 a month after having tied up so much money. But when I pull my cash out, am I still losing 600 a month? This is before I pulled the cash out.
This is after you pulled the cash out. You're
How
losing
much cash did I pull out?
350. So you invested 321,000 and you pulled out 2,000 more than what you put in.
Yeah, then I love it. I'm sorry, I was asleep there. That's a very peculiar deal. I'm literally going to pull all my money back out. So I've got like basically a lot of effort, but no money in it. I'm losing 600 a month, and my rents are going to grow, and the house is going to appreciate, and I'm making payments to principal on this larger mortgage now. What are we assuming my rate is after the cash out?
6.5, or maybe six.
You'd probably have to give me a different scenario because I don't believe that's. I mean, if I do it right away, maybe I'll have to pay 6.5. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till rates get lower and then pull my cash out. What happens if I pull cash out at 4.5?
This always calculates this thing, but like right after you purchase. But let me see.
I mean, if I could pull the cash out at 4.5 or 5, that's what I would end up doing is waiting till I could do that. But I love the idea of having a great asset, losing 600 a month. I'll show up as losing a lot more after I'm depreciating it.
But it looks like the cash flow is actually negative 200 a month, not 600 right there. Cash flow is negative 201.
Yeah, I mean.
So it's not 6.
I mean, what a lot of people do if they're stuck on whether it's a winner immediately on a monthly is to pull a little less cash out. But my inclination would be to pull it all out. I don't mind like a loser. I don't mind a loser. A loser, for me, a loser isn't a loser. A loser is often a winner. I'm taking a very long view. And I know rents will go up, and I know the value of the underlying asset will go up, and I know I'll be making payments to principal. I'm not fixated on, am I losing 200? Am I winning 200 a month? Other people might be. If you're living off the rents, then you have to really defend your cash flow more aggressively. I'm not living off the rents. I'm making a living elsewhere. I'm trying to get people to buy me the house. Right? That's how I think of my rental properties is they're buying me the house very slowly. So immediately upon having just made the acquisition, cash flow is not my obsession. That's the way my mind works. It takes a minute for some people, listening. You're probably like, what is he saying? Huh? Of course, cash flow is king. So, we might slow it down at some point, maybe today, another time, to talk about that. If you want to set up a meeting with us to talk about how someone could say something like that. But I've been doing it a very long time and thinking this way and becoming a lot wealthier than I would have been without real estate this way. And also, you buy in these high cost locations, it's cash flow's tougher, but you know, like buying some $200,000 house in Baltimore ain't gonna get me rich. Not the way I want to be. I got to buy $1 million properties to get the level of wealth I'm seeking. So when you go up the price ladder, you know, risk of vacancy goes down, which is great. But you know, cash flow goes down also, or rate of return goes down also. But I'm in it to win it. I'm not just in it to play. That's why I'm not buying $200,000 properties in Baltimore personally. I could do that. I mean, they're right up the road. Risk of vacancy would go way up, which is a bad thing. My cash flow would go way up, which is a good thing. Or my rate of return would go on a monthly would go way up, which is a good thing. But the underlying assets, 200, and like, you know, 10 years later, it's 250. So I've got 50K of equity. I'm trying to buy things at 800, a million, that 10 years later are like worth $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 more, right? I'm in it to win that. So that's the mentality of someone who could think to himself, yeah, I'm not really that interested or obsessed with whether my cash flow is great. Now, what happens over time is the cash flow gets great. That property that I bought that was $1,700, $1,800 a month total rent, that now is $6,900 a month total rent. When I bought it, the cash flow was just okay. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Holy cow, cash flow is mind blowing, and just the absolute dollar amount, $6,900 coming at me. You know, it's just like that's the game I personally am trying to be in. That's why I buy and hold in the District of Columbia. That's how you could get to a statement, losing 200, losing 600 a month. Not really that big a deal, because that's not what I'm really playing for immediately. The cash flow comes later. But what definitely comes is, in absolute terms, appreciation of rents and appreciation of the underlying asset value. That's like big numbers, you know, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, you know, a number of years later. And I'm not saying like 2 years later. You have to wait for it, maybe a decade, maybe 15 years. But the amounts of money just dwarf what I could have done in 401k or in the stock market or anything else. And if you can do this, if the exercise that we just did literally shows us at the end of the day pulling all our cash out, that's pretty amazing, especially given what rates are. I think when rates get a little lower, it gets a lot prettier on a monthly. Anybody have any questions about that right there that I just said?
It was a lot. It was a lot to unpack.
Yeah. It is a lot, and it's a very different mindset. So you're not going to hear other people talk this way. I'm very, 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 like, actually, that was a lot of work, doing all that work on that house. And I do renovate properties where I do that much work on a house. And the front end of it is, if we're renovating, is very intense. I often don't try to buy properties I don't have to renovate much. And then maybe I'd have Ever helping me out with, like, you know, 30, 60K worth of work, you know, in and out quick. But occasionally I'll renovate a house like that or even more. Last year, my wife and I put like 354 into one renovation. So it got a little out of hand. And that was very work intensive. But apart from on the front end, when I'm getting it up and running, I'm extremely lazy. So I want the wealth to come from the market movement, not my work. A lot of people get obsessed with, I want to put sweat equity. I don't want to pay that guy for his renovation. I don't even mind buying a flipped house as a buy and hold if the numbers are okay and I believe in the upside of the property. I don't mind paying Jad for his flip. That's why he's so smart and he does that so well. So I'm not really in it for all the sweat equity. Occasionally, the right property to purchase does involve renovation, like the one my wife and I bought in 21 and renovated last year and put 350 to 400 into it. Again, we thought we were going to put a lot less into it. We made it nicer and nicer and nicer, but the rents are amazing. It was worth it. But apart from those times where I'm stressing out launching a buy and hold property, you know, I'm lazy. I want the market to move it up. I have a job already. I work really hard as a realtor. I'm not lazy there. I'm really not. I work really hard. But as an investor, I want it, you know, mostly the market to do the work, not me. including that's
And
why
you know what the
I look at
hardest thing,
my clients and they
Carlos?
tell me, oh, I don't want to pay for the guy's work. I'm going to do it with all my cleverness and my sweat. I'm like, good. Occasionally that's good. But like you're actually a clever accountant or doctor or government contractor. You know, do what you do and stick to your lane and be lazy like me and watch the tide rise. And how powerful that is. One of the things I've said, and Jad, I think you heard me say this, is that I am just a lazy real estate investor who manages the energy of the gods like Father Time. Father Time, over a decade, 2 or 3, will do remarkable things for you in Washington, D.C. or any location like it.
I know, but Carlos, the biggest thing is mortality, though, right? Like, I just hit 43 2 weeks ago, and you're just like, okay, I'm gonna buy some new buy and holds. Like, how long am I gonna live? Like, we're not Noah. We're not gonna live to
Well,
904 years
I'm
old.
50, I'm 57, and I'd like to live up to 100 and or more.
I hope so.
That's
I hope to 120. But I'm just trying to tell you, that's like one of the things that, like, when I look at, I'm like, okay, like, are my kids even gonna? I guess, like, for me now, I guess I say, like, okay, well, I have 2 boys and I have 1 girl, so I'm like, okay, I can give that to them, and then they can continue on what I've built, because that's really the only way I'm still buying and holds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or I try,
Oh
like,
yeah.
the other day, I just got my DC GC license, and I have my Virginia one now, and you can waive into DC. And I'm like, okay, well, hopefully my kids will build off this GC license, and that, because if you don't think like that, in my opinion, you're like, with the mortgage, let's say the mortgage is 15 years. Okay, I'm at 58. Like, what's the quality of life as you get older? So I don't know. I just think that with real estate, I think it's great with the buying and holding. But I just think sometimes your mind tells you, you know, you just kind of face your own mortality.
Well, so it is important to
I
understand
agree with that.
that some people are legacy. Like if you talk to a financial planner, some people are legacy investors. Now, I'm not talking about real estate people. I'm talking about any kind of investment, real estate, stocks, bonds, invest in your buddy's bar, whatever it is. Some people are not legacy investors. All they want is to have the money they need to live a decent life. Other people are legacy investors, and the fact that they die is like actually in the scope of investing, not an event of major consequence. It's just something that's going to happen along the way to your estate. Your estate is this thing that can have an intergenerational impact. It maybe, if it gets big enough, it can change an organization like a church or a temple. It could change the trajectory of a school you donate to, a nonprofit. It could provide education for people in the rest of your family for 3 generations. So if you're a legacy investor, your death is just an event among multiple events. And while it's going to suck dying, that doesn't really, it's not a huge thing in the life of your estate. And those legacy investors, so they think beyond their life, and they think beyond their family. Sometimes they think beyond just the things that normal people think about. And for us, legacy investors, which I'm squarely a legacy investor, I don't really worry about the sale of the properties because I don't actually spend any time imagining selling real estate. I only spend time imagining buying it. So what that means is when I die, there will be properties in my estate that are fully paid off. There'll be properties in my estate that are not, that are halfway paid off. There'll be properties in my estate that are just, when I was like 96, I said, let's do it. I bought another one, put it on a 30-year table. I croak at 101, and that property is just 5 years into the amortization table, and my estate will deal with it. And I'm going to leave documentation that describes the spirit, the nature, the idea, what to do with certain specific assets, what organizations and people to take care of, and so forth. So I'm not really troubled at all. It's not even something that I spend any energy worrying about. How, other than, and I didn't pull up the document, but I do have this thing that my financial planner had me pull together that lets me know if I live, if I die at 80, which ones will be fully paid off and which ones are cash flowing amazing, versus other ones that are not. It's going to be a combination of properties that are cash flowing meh to like pretty good to like freaking awesome. And all of that's going to add up to decent cash flow coming into the estate when I die, Jad. That's how I think of it. I don't really worry about what you're worrying about, but maybe that's because either you're not a legacy investor, or I think you are. I suspect you are, but you haven't spent as much time thinking about your legacy as I've spent time thinking about mine. Maybe it's that. And maybe in a little while, you won't worry about mortgages that much.
Wait, so you're saying Jad is concerned about mortgages?
No, like taking on a mortgage and how old will I be? You know, like if I'm 57, so I take on a 30-year mortgage tomorrow,
So like a
and I'm
Dave
57, it's paid off. And that, you know, that could bother me, but in my case, it doesn't. You know, I think the most recent mortgages I took on were in 22. No, it might have been late. I can't remember if it was late 21 or early 22. I think it was 21. So that means I was 55. So I'll be 85 when they're done being paid off. You know what I mean? But that didn't slow me down at all.
Yeah, it's a different approach from Dave Ramsey.
I mean, my main focus is I'm going after what feels to me like big numbers. Like, you know, if you're talking to Jeff Bezos, he'd be like, not worth my time. I get that, but like $1 million property that, you know, a decade and a half later could be worth $500,000, maybe even double $1 million more. For me, that's like real money, and that's what I'm trying to acquire. You know, a property I can rent for say $5K, where, you know, 20 years down the road it could be yielding $10K. Like, that's real money to me, and so that's what I go for. You know what I mean?
Why do you think people are so?
Sorry.
If you don't have cash,
if I could just add one thing, and so because I was commenting on the Dave Ramsey piece, so my thing is entirely dependent on how lazy I am, how I want the real estate and time to do the work, not me. I don't know how that, because I don't think Dave Ramsey talks about being a lazy mofo like me as an investor. You know, talk to people I work with at work or in my volunteer work on boards. I'm known as a hard worker. So in the things I really want to work hard at, I'm a hard worker. But I don't want to work hard at my real estate investing. I'm willing to put in some hard work on the front end to launch it. But ultimately, I want father time and the real estate itself, like the clever location I bought in and the pretty design we did. Like, I want that to do the work, not Carlos. And other people, they come in, you know, walking like tall, saying, Carlos, I'm going to get the best deal in the world. I'm going to do all the sweat equity. This is what I'm going to do. You know, they haven't done a deal, and this is what they're saying they're going to do. And I'm like, wow, okay, you want to really, so you better quit your job and make this your main job because you really want to work at this, you know? And then I often convince them not to and do my lazy approach as an investor, that is. I mean, you know, people aren't realistic. They want to like have the best deal ever and do it like way part-time. That takes a lot of work, even just sourcing that. So you got to be realistic. And that's been my MO. I came up with something that really works for me and lets me be really lazy. And then, you know, over some time, you know, I got my cash flow to the point where I don't manage it either. But I pay property managers to manage my property. I don't know my tenants. I don't talk to them about toilets. You know, I'm so lazy as an investor. And it's great. It lets me work really hard for my family, in my job, the nonprofit volunteer work I do. That's where I bust my ass. But like, you guys don't bust your ass working on your 401k, do you? No. So for me, it's like 401k. A little harder than that, especially on the front end when I got to launch a property. But I want it to be as close to 401k as possible. And it returns a lot more than 401k. Makes me a lot wealthier than 401k is making me.
there was a podcast I listened to, and it was with Dan Martell, I think, and they were talking about like your time and how important it is, and how like you could pay me to do real estate because I really enjoy it, but things that I don't enjoy, I would pay people to do, like cleaning my house. You know, there has a value. So there's a value of me if I audit my time and look, how much do I get paid per hour to do my job? You know, the average person works 20,000 hours a year. So if I make $500,000 and divide that by what did I say, 20,000. So I'm measuring what I do, but this guy said that you audit your time, what you're doing, then you leverage it. What don't you want to do? Like property manage, take the calls, you know, oh, the plumbing's out, the electric's out. You leverage that, and then you fill your time with things that you do like. Because I think, you know, if you want to do real estate investing, you could take the lazy approach, and I think that's the beautiful thing about buy hold. And then if you don't want to do anything else and you want to make that your lifestyle, you could go on vacations. I mean, there are clients that could throw in the towel and could travel most of the time, and they do. You can make that your lifestyle. So I think it is feeding a lifestyle, doing the income flip where you're making more money on your rentals, taking the lazy approach, and then quitting your 9 to 5.
Yeah, you don't hear people like marketing, hey, the lazy investor, because it's just not, it doesn't sound very respectable. But honestly, you'd be surprised what it can do for you to live a great life, and help you just avoid like all of the incorrect assumptions that a lot of amateur investors make. Let me be clear. I'm an amateur investor. I'm a professional realtor, but I'm an amateur investor. I'm not like a guy who's living off of his rental income. Those guys, they're not lazy. They put everything they've got into building their portfolio. That is their jobs, but they don't have that. That's their job. They don't have another vocation. It is their vocation. That's not who I am. And the problem with a lot of casual real estate investors is they're like, 4 hours a week, they want to be that person. So unrealistic.
I want to get what you just said. There's a book, 5 Hour Work Week, and it's not real estate, but he says the same thing, and that's probably the best book you'll read. That says lazy 5 Hour Work Week. But I saw Corey. If we wanted to do quick, I know you run a hard money business. You want to tell us a little bit about that, and anybody else that wants to do their pitch. I know we are, 7:20, so coming up on 2 hours. So please introduce yourselves. You made it this far. Corey, are you there? Or you just dropped your info? Fix and flip. I wholesale area to please email drop. Clear Sky Financial. Mora Home Solutions. Ever's not here. I dropped Ever's information. So if anybody needs Ever's information is right here. He's a great contractor. He's got his own crew. I could also put that in the meeting notes. So look out for that. But go ahead, Mora.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey guys, so I have a crew of 11 guys. I'm a licensed home improvement contractor in Maryland. Currently, I have six guys in Montgomery County, and actually, I got 12 guys and 6 guys in PG County, so all over. I'm comfortable with the light turnover stuffs. Right now, we're doing apartments at this time, turnover in Silver Spring. But I'm comfortable with major rehab as well. And I'm going to shoot my information over to you guys as well and put it in the chat.
Thank you.
And what was your name?
My name is Jay, last name Mora.
Oh, so this is your company, Jay. You look
Yeah.
pretty young.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Tell it to my 5 kids.
Are you serious? 5 kids?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Man.
Started early, man. Started early. I'm 27.
Wow. Did you say that's your house behind you?
Did I what?
Is that your house behind you?
No, I have 5 kids, so I can't be anywhere near home. I'm at Starbucks.
Okay. All right. Oh, those big windows. It's cool. 5 kids. Wow. What age?
5 kids.
So the oldest is 14. Youngest is 1 year old.
Wow.
So it ranges from 1, 2, 5, 7, 10, and 14.
Wow. Amazing.
Wow, Chad, he's right behind. He's right ahead of you.
Yeah, good luck to him. He's smart to have them all close to each other. Smart man. Get it all out of the way early.
Yeah, that, and I'm trying to figure out a way to avoid being in a nursing home. So at least one of them's going to take care of me, or at least throw me around, juggle me around, or something.
And you guys are all noticing that he's drinking coffee at 7:30 p.m. Hey, do you guys want me to launch into the data?
Yeah, and Jay, please drop your information. Yeah, just let Corey introduce himself. He's a hard money lender.
Okay.
Yeah, hey guys. I've wholesaled some properties, flipped one. I work with my dad's company, Clear Sky Financial. He's flipped over 350 houses, and then he's currently a hard money lender. So we specialize in fix and flip loans, short-term asset-based loans. So if anyone's interested in that, then, give me a call.
The company again?
Company is Clear Sky Financial.
And what's his name?
My dad's name is Charlie.
Okay, and where are you guys from? Where do you live?
I'm based out of Woodbridge, but do business mostly Northern Virginia, DC, and Maryland.
Wow, so he's got you in the hustle. That's quite a. How old are you?
I'm 29.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Very
Interesting.
good.
Yeah, thank you. Yep.
Yeah, the thing about you guys is you know how things really work. So,
Yeah.
you know the streets, you know the nooks and crannies.
Yep. Been learning from my dad's experience and my own, so it's nice.
That's really cool.
Yep. Thank you.
Wait, I'm gonna definitely set up a call with you guys. Both Corey and you, Jay. Wow, I want to hear more of your story, Jay, too.
Nicholas, Corey's dad is famous, actually. His dad actually financed 10 of my deals when I was starting out. So Clear Sky is a very, very big company.
Oh yeah. Good to hear from you, Dad.
I was just texting your dad actually earlier today.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, the company's definitely been growing a lot, and at most of the meetups I go to seem to have a pretty positive reputation, so that's nice.
Do you like your dad? I guess you do. So I guess what you see is what you get.
Yeah, like he's pretty great. He's definitely an interesting character. He kind of like a real estate machine. So like you tell him a house and he'll tell you the ARV and repairs pretty quickly.
Ooh, that's a good guy to know, man. Jeez.
While reading a book and tying his shoes and juggling.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and watching basketball or something.
Now you're talking. I like to do that.
Curious. Do you have a lot of clients that want to sell a house? Do you guys do loans or would you provide financing, let's say for a homeowner that wants to rehab their house and then sell it?
Well, usually it's short loans, like 3 months to a year. So if anyone wanted to do something like that, they would just have to plan to refinance us out. Like you can do, the BRRRR strategy with us if you want, like buy, renovate, and then refinance. So yeah.
How about they own the house and they want to flip their own house basically and have you as a quote unquote equity partner where they might owe 300 but the house is worth 600 and they want to put 50 or 100K into it to make it I don't know, 850,000, 900,000.
Yeah, the answer is yes, Nicholas. His dad will do anything. It's his own money. They don't use institutional stuff. So his dad is open to everything. As long as it makes sense, just like Corey said, they can get out, they'll do it.
Oh, that's good to know. Thanks, Corey. Thanks, Chad, for
Wow. Yeah, that does give them latitude. Just no one to report to but myself, kind of thing.
So what's your goal, Corey? Do you want to buy some properties or you just want to feed the machine?
Well, it'd be nice to keep the machine going as far as the loaning business, of course. And then I'm always looking to, get my acquisitions going and then wholesale and flip and maybe collect some to buy and hold too. Yeah, I also, I researched a bunch of creative financing strategies. So I'll see if I have success in that also. Mhm.
Now Jay's got to have to network with Corey. You guys should exchange information because I know Jay's got some clients that need the money.
Yeah, man, and I know your business pretty well. I'm actually a mentee of a couple of top wholesale companies.
Oh, really? That's good to know. Yeah, I would love to talk about it. Yeah, wholesaling
Yeah.
definitely is that pretty complex. Takes a lot of like mastery, I would say.
Yeah.
Without further ado, Carlos and his market update. I don't know how much time you have, Carlos.
Well,
I'm
first of all,
saying-
give us April because this is March.
Oh, thanks. It says as of April. I pulled up the wrong one. Thanks.
So that's the March report. We're about to look. He's about to load up the April report. This is a report that compares April of 2023, last month, to the same month a year earlier. Okay, and we're going to look at things like the amount of inventory, which is extremely low. Pricing, is our properties losing or gaining value, which is relatively flat, and demand, or the number of transactions that have closed, which is radically down. Radically down. I'll start with that. What? How come this is different from what we were? Oh, showings. Never mind. This is what we were looking at this today.
You might have to share your screen. I forgot I have a deal that I need to submit an offer in 30 minutes, but I'll be back after I submit.
Well, we won't be here for 30 more minutes, but well, I can share my screen, but do I have the April report?
I hope so. I hope so. I'll send it to you.
Okay, I got it. I do have it. All right.
You gotta have that at your fingertips.
Yeah. Yep. No, I got it. So I'm going to share the screen now. Is that right, Nick? Okay, yeah, so now I'm sharing now. Same report. All right, so what I'm showing you is that I want to show you a bottom line thing, which is there's just some weird things in this data. Like if you told me that this combination of results that's on this screen was even possible a year ago, I would tell you you're smoking something. It's not possible. What's not possible, Carlos? Well, first of all, it is not possible for supply, months of supply, to be up 35%. But the total months of supply we're up to is only 1 month of supply. That is insane. So a low inventory market is when we have 3 to 4 months of supply. But we're only at 1 month. And we're at 1 month, which is way up from last year. What that means is, holy cow, did you guys remember? We had a fraction of a month last year at this time of the year. Well, that's crazy low. And I guess it makes sense that it was so low because demand was so high back then. But demand is down now, guys. How do we know that demand is down? Well, one way I can show you that is that showings are down 24%. Another way I can show you that demand is down is that closings are down 33%. Okay? Closings are down 33%, people. You have a market that has this many sales and a third of it is missing. A third of it is missing. That is not small. Some of you folks who are a little younger or a little newer to real estate, which means your time on earth has been limited or your time in real estate has been limited, you may not understand that if the market goes down, say transactions are down 10%, people are going, ring the bells. Holy shit, that is a huge piece of information. Well, I'm telling you, they're down 33%. Okay. Now, the thing that also blows my mind, and a year ago, if you told me we'd have this combination of data, I'd say not possible would be, how can you possibly have sales be down 33% and values are down only 1.5? If you told me a year ago that sales are going to be down 33%, I would have told you. And then you asked me, so when sales go down 33%, how much do you think values will go down? I would say, I don't know, 15, 25%, some big number that would make homeowners very upset. But no, they're only down 1.5%, a little bit more than a 1%, guys. Values have hardly dropped, even though transactions are down 33%. This becomes a bit circular when you try to figure out, well, how? That brings me back to supply. How is it possible that values could be down only 1.5% when transactions are down 33%? It's because there's hardly any real estate out there to buy. It's always about, so when you're trying to figure out where values are, where they're headed, it's always about supply and demand. So demand is down a lot. So is supply. That's why values aren't dropping like a stone. Okay, that's fundamentally where we're at. Another way to say this is, you want to flip the ideas for a minute, play around with them, get comfortable with them. Well, how could our metro area possibly deal with the fact that supply is only at 1.16 months? When you talk about months of supply, what we're talking about is if people stopped listing homes, freeze, no more listings, how long would it take to sell all the inventory that does sit out there? It would take 1.16 months. About a month later, there'd be literally nothing available. Normally, again, I'm repeating myself, 3 to 4 months of supply is a tight market, a market where people go, my goodness, there's not enough inventory. This is too imbalanced in favor of sellers because there's not enough supply. It's a seller's market, 3 to 4 months of supply. We have 1 month of supply. So fundamentally, the situation is get to sellers, find sellers, create inventory. If you're a flipper, make more housing inventory. Okay? If you're a wholesaler, find that person who wants to sell. Listings are valuable, and we need more people to sell their homes. And right now, that's not as clear as it will be when what? When rates drop. Because what's going to happen when rates drop, guys? Showings will go up for sure. This number here, down 24%. People start picking up the phone and wanting to see houses, right? Showings will pick up, and then what's going to happen? Well, deeper into the sales process, closings are going to occur, okay? Well, if you want to take the next, pending sales will go up. So what will happen is showings will go up, then pending sales will go up, and then, of course, closings will go up. And then what's going to happen? Woo! I don't know what's going to happen to supply. I'm very concerned. Very, very concerned. Another way to say it is the radical drop in demand that we are still experiencing due to rates having gone up so much so fast is masking, and I'm repeating myself from prior grid meetings, is masking a profound lack of supply that will be really problematic. After all of what I've just said, when demand goes up because rates go down, what do you think is going to happen to values, guys? Anyone want to venture a guess? Corey, you got a view on this? When
You said if demand goes up?
yeah, because let's imagine the future.
Mhm.
And I don't mean like 10 years from now. I mean like maybe 10 months from now. Okay? The worry about a recession is going up. And either like they're showing us data telling us, oh man, we're in a recession, or maybe they're showing us data like, oh my God, let's try to avoid a recession. But whether it's to minimize an existing recession or try to avoid a recession altogether, the Fed is going to do what?
Drop interest rates.
Right. So the Fed's going to drop interest rates. What's that going to do to demand?
It's going to increase it to try to offset people's fear of the down
Yep.
market.
Yep. So demand for real estate will go up. And then what do you think with this low supply scenario? And I'm hoping that something happens where maybe sellers get encouraged and bring some supply on. I don't know, but they're not doing it right now. What do you think is going to happen to values? Demand goes up. Inventory is radically low, like crazy low.
It's going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
Skyrocket.
I bought my property 4 years ago for $448,000. It's $850 right now in Germantown. Ridiculous.
Oh, that's good. Good stuff.
That's good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I'm very honestly, the owner of me, because I own a number of properties, is very happy about where he thinks that things are headed. The realtor in me is a little bit worried. It's going to be tough for my buyers. It's very good. Going to be very good for my sellers. Guys who and gals who make a living flipping houses, you're trying to find stock. Work harder at that. It's not going to get easier. Because the demand's going to be so great for it. So probably, right now, it's probably a very good time to find off-market stuff because you have some sellers who are feeling discouraged, but they're going to feel more encouraged later, right, Corey? Because like those FISBOs are not going to feel as frustrated. It's going to fly off the shelf, even if they have priced a little high, even if their house is a bit dinged up. It'll get to the point where the buyer will take anything. Just get me into any house. Right now, buyers are acting picky. So that's pretty much where I think the market is. If you want to break it down on a jurisdictional basis, it does, it's not the same county to county. So look at these closed sales, situations here. They're not the same in every county. The bottom line data I was reading from was the aggregate metro area. That's what's down 33% closed sales. In the city, it's 34, PG, it's 27. Montgomery, it's down almost 38. So it varies. Interesting. Fairfax City is teeny. It's not a very big jurisdiction. It's not Fairfax County, right? The county is down 35. The city. So the little counties or the little areas like Fairfax City and Falls Church City can't put too much weight into that. But yeah, that's what you see on a county by county basis. In terms of median pricing, similarly, it bounces around a bit, but everyone's pretty clustered. I mean, what's a big county with a big number? Okay, Prince George's County is a big county and it's up 5%. That's interesting. Whereas the rest of it's mostly down. Again, Falls Church is very, very small. So the fact that it says down 14, Falls Church City, that is very, very small. Fairfax City is very, very small. So, but the big counties, Fairfax County, it's flat. Arlington County, that's interesting. That's a big county. It's up 6. What's happening in Arlington? That's interesting. Arlington and PG, those are newsworthy. They're up. Interesting. I don't know exactly all the reasons why. I would imagine a lot of that Arlington County being up is in maybe South Arlington. I think it's a little more affordable. I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. I haven't broken it down. DC, where I sell a lot, we're down 3%. Not too different from the metro area as a whole, down 1.5. That's the bottom line. The metro area as a whole is down 1.5, even though transactions are down 33%. So anybody who wants a one-on-one on this data, let us know. But it's not remarkably different from April. I do perceive that there's the potential that the spring market, which is a very busy market, is going to string out deeper into the summer because we're getting a bit of a delay in our market. Like all that spring activity obviously didn't happen in April because it's down 33% in terms of transactions. So we may get an elongated spring like we did in 2020. Remember 2020 when COVID started in March and then it whacked the April and May. And then in the summer, it really picked up because we had our spring market sort of stretch out. That could happen this year. Yep, that's about all I'm, gonna suggest you bank on. I do feel if you're talking to any lenders, Corey, I don't know if you and your dad study the mortgage market and the bond market and all the other markets because you are lenders, that relate to your lending. I do hear some traditional, Fannie, Freddie, FHA type, mortgage, people, lenders, suggesting that maybe within a year or two we could get down to below 5 as a standard mortgage rate. But I don't know what you're hearing, whether you guys have a view on that.
My dad might have more view than I do. Yeah, I don't know too much about, the bigger picture of those loans yet, but I've got to do my research.
Yep.
My dad, we don't sell loans. So we will, a lot of other loan companies will send bundles of their loans to those kind of companies. But yeah, we keep it all with us.
Yep. Understood. But we don't have a traditional lender on the call right now, but talk to some of those guys and gals, and some of them will I hear them say, that they think we will hit a recession and that rates will come down and that they could normalize. You know, some people say a little above, some people say a little below 5. I feel like 5 is a number they have in mind in terms of, you know, what's going to look like in a little while. You know, 6, 12, 24 months down the road.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know that in general, I think it fluctuates. You know, just goes up and down when they want to change it to encourage people to buy or not buy.
Yep. Yep. Well, that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you for hanging in there. This was a long one. Often we go like an hour or 90 minutes. We went over 2 hours. So thank you. It's nice to meet some of the newer folks, and we'll see you next month. All right.
All right, great. Yeah, thanks for having us. It was nice.
Please send people our way, like people who, like, you've got buddies and friends who are curious, you know, or way into it, and just send them our way. We'd love to hear from them to join this monthly.
All right, that sounds good.
Okay. Good night, guys.
Connecting. All right. Bye.